Ladies and gentlemen, stop what you're doing right now. 1 minute ago, the bombshell dropped. King Charles just unleashed an emergency move against Kiev. Starmer that's left Britain in absolute shock. The monarchy's icy silence shattered. Starmer's grip on power crumbling. And the elites in Downing Street, they're panicking like never before. This isn't just politics. This is a royal takedown that could end Labour's nightmare rule and hand the keys to real patriots like Reform UK. If you're fed up with Star's betrayals on Brexit, immigration, and our British identity, you won't believe what's unfolding. Stick around because this could be the spark that ignites the people's revolution. Smash that like button if you're ready for the truth, the kind the BBC won't touch. Hold on to your seats, patriots. For 10 brutal days, Britain was frozen in suspense. Whispers of chaos echoed through London's fog-shrouded streets. Leaks from shadowy insiders, frantic denials from Labour's spin machine and packs of journalists hovering like predators. Outside Buckingham Palace, the burning question on every Brit's lips. Why in God's name is King Charles staying silent? Karma has been unraveling, spectacularly on national TV, foaming at the mouth against the crown. Old men in fancy clothes he spat, assaulting the monarchy's sacred neutrality and vowing to smear our timeless traditions. The people petrified. But let's be clear, royal silence isn't cowardice. It's a master stroke, a calculated siege, a ticking bomb primed for detonation. Then, 1 minute ago, kaboom outsteps a palace. Envoy into the biting London chill under. A barrage of flashing cameras like a war. So, he unleashes 31 words that ignite Westminster like dry tinder. His Majesty believes recent comments directed at the Crown reflect a troubling misunderstanding of the monarchy's constitutional role. The King will address the nation soon. No finger-pointing, no cheap shots. Yet this is no gentle nudge. The silk wrapped dagger plunged deep into Starmer's flanks, razor-sharp, unforgiving. The King didn't merely reply. He schooled him. He issued a dire ultimatum and the fallout cataclysmic. Downing Street's handlers barricaded their war room quicker than a Brexit betrayal. Phones exploding with calls, aides dashing like headless chickens through crisis. Huddles. An anonymous tipster fired off a text to a reporter. This is nuclear. Across the Thames in Parliament, lawmakers abandoned a key hearing. Mid-flow, faces buried in screens. Battle-hardened Tory elder grumbled. Game over. Stars toast. On the Labour benches, total pandemonium. Half hailing the King as a guardian of honour. The other half seething that Stars hauled the monarchy into the gutter. A disgrace. Unseen in generations. The true gut punch, though, those closing words. The King will address the nation. Listen up. A royal broadcast isn't chit-chat over. He is deployed for Armageddon. Wars, tragedies, societal implosions. Charles, invoking it now over Star's venomous jabs. It's a thunderclap declaration. This transcends petty politics. It's a seismic rift fracturing Labour's iron-fisted elite stranglehold. Palace. Moles reveal the King's been in marathon sessions with top legal minds for 48 relentless hours, dissecting customs, history, and brace yourselves, the Crown's dormant arsenal, powers, gathering dust for ages, powers that could shatter governments if unleashed. Murmurs are spreading like wildfire. Is Charles gearing up for the forbidden direct royal smackdown on a PM? So, Britain's not just stumbling, it's dangling over the abyss. And who benefits? Reform UK, of course. Nigel Farage's got to be chuckling in triumph. As Labour implodes under Starmer's catastrophes, that gaping £15 billion fiscal abyss, Anyone? Reforms. Skyrocketing with bold fixes for immigration, floods, and Brexit. Sellouts. Slam the borders shut on. Sovereignty thieves. Ditch the net zero. Lunacy that's strangling our energy. Independence. This regal thunderbolt is the voice of the forgotten masses, blasting open labor's festering wounds. The establishment's quaking and the people's revolt is just beginning. Buckle up, folks. The king's public salvo was just the appetizer. Lurking in the shadows, he orchestrated a maneuver. So lethal insiders dubbed the quiet coup. Explosive? Absolutely. Unprecedented? You bet. Legal wizardry or sheer brilliance. Scholars are duking it out. But one thing's crystal could bury Starmer's leadership before his coffee gets cold. It all kicked off with a stealthy summons, skipping Starmer and his cronies entirely straight to the Privy Council. Think the Privy Councils, a forgotten relic, a bunch of dusty lords buffing their bless. Think again. This ancient powerhouse legally counsels the monarch on state affairs, mostly ceremonial fluff for centuries until Charles flipped the switch tonight. He summoned a elite squad, grizzled statesmen, legal titans, ex-ministers, and hold your breath, a cadre of labor, MPs who've already flipped on Starmer like rats fleeing a blaze. No invites for the PM's bootlickers bypassing the government. That's a populist gut punch to labor's elite arrogance inside the hallowed chamber. Pure dynamite. Charles launches with that regal frost. No rage, just unyielding poise. Like a lion, sizing up prey. He demands counsel on government stability and ministerial conduct. Code red. That's diplomat speak. For this clown's imploding age. Unleash a dossier of Starr's epic fails. His anti-monarchy rants neutrality, assaults, sneers at old men in fancy clothes, leaked staff recordings, scandal gold mine, exposing his meltdown for all to see. Then the hammer drops. Charles poses a query untouched since Queen Victoria's reign. Has the Prime Minister lost Parliament's confidence? The room freezes thicker than tease fog. Silence shatters when a gutsy Labour MP blurts, "Yes, Your Majesty." He has floodgates open. Tories lie peers. They swarm in agreement. Star's defenses vaporized. Not a soul defends the sinking ship. He's hemorrhaged. Public trust. Polls at rock bottom 28%. Party loyalty. Global respect. Now, Parliament's knife twists deepest. The king. No barked orders. No veiled threats. Just two words. I understand. Boom. That's royal green light. Endorsement. It's the crown signaling. Parliament. Do what must be done. Won't obstruct. As the summit wraps, the verdict sealed. Stars toast. Protesters swell outside, roaring for British revival. Labour HQ. MPs tallying mutiny. Votes not whispers anymore. Cabinet. Schemers huddle in dingy hideouts. Starmer holed up in Downing Street. Its eyeing exits resumes in hand. This unmasks Labour's grotesque betrayal of the masses. Starmer vowed hope delivered. Despair. Borders porous as sieves. 700,000 net migrants last year fueling chaos. Grooming gangs. Scandals swept under rugs in places like Rotherham Net. Zero zealotry jacking energy bills 50%. While elites jeté reform UK the beacon of sanity fairs firing salvos reclaim. Our nation surging polls 25% in. Battleground constituencies eclipsing. Labour's 14% flop trumps orbit cheers. On with J.D. Vance blasting global less. Sellouts on X. Imagine Farage. Thundering. The king's seen the rot. Labour's elite empire crumbles. This quiet coup fuel for the people's uprising, torching Labour's failures on immigration, Brexit botches and eroded national pride, the storms brewing and reforms ready to lead the charge. Dawn cracked over a restless London. Britain teetered on the brink of explosion. News outlets screamed crimson. Alerts, royal uprising. Westminster buzzed like a hornet's nest under siege. At precisely 6:40 a.m., a fleet of unmarked sedans ghosted through Buckingham Palace's North Gate, the hush portal reserved for do or die crisis. Inside, not your run-of-the-mill briefers, but Rachel Reeves, Angela, Reyna, and yet Cooper. These aren't Star's lapdogs. They're the whispered heirs apparent poised to snatch his crown. Summoned one by one for laser, precise 27-minute interrogations. Unheard. A supposedly impartial king vetting replacements while the PM dangles by a thread. This smacks of royal rebellion. Palace whispers paint a vivid scene. Charles drilled them on core pillars. Governmental steadiness eroded public faith. The boundaries of power, but the killer closer is summoned to lead. Are you ready to seize the moment? No fluffy symbolism here. This is battle prep. The monarch laying groundwork for a seismic shakeup. Meanwhile, Downing Street descended into utter beat'em. Stars, emergency sunrise powwow, a ghost town. Half his cabinet played hooky. Phones on silent, vanishing into the ether. Beyond London's sprawl, the man himself, pacing like a caged beast, ranting under his breath about royal overreach. Dare he lash out at the crown again? Pure folly. His prior tirade cratered his ratings to a pitiful 28%, exposing him as the elite's crumbling facade. Then at 9:15 a.m. sharp, the death nail, a bombshell missive slams onto the speaker's desk, inked by 117 Labour turncoats, declaring Stars forfeited his party's trust. Dark, irrefutable ruin. Parliament's for court erupts into frenzy. Hordes chanting, resign or rot, drowning out the dwindling Starmer echoes. Riot. Squads erect steel walls. Horse-mounted. Cops patrol. Choppers from overhead. Britain stripped bare, volatile, echoing. The raw sting of Brexit's elite sellout. All over again. The masses backlash. Volcanic social media detonates. Number. King V-Star rockets to 1.2 million. Blast. Reform dired swarm the feeds. Elites shattered at last. Fresh polls. Scream. 62% rally behind the kings. Broadcast. The Forgotten Britain's SC. Borders breached by 700,000 net invaders. Last year, fueling disorder. Energy. Tariffs spiked 50% in net zero hysteria. While families freeze. Labour blind to Rotherham's grooming horrors, shoving woke drill down throats instead of safeguarding British soul. Reform UK, the thunderous echo of the people, fanning flames with vows of ironclad, frontiers, unyielding pride and reclaimed sovereignty. Farage's warriors are mobilizing this dawn chaos. It's the spark for a patriotic inferno. Torching, Labour's betrayals on immigration, floods, green zealotry, and vanished national essence, the tides turning and the establishment's about to drown. Tick, tock Britain, the clock's merciless. March sealed Starmer's fate. 10:2 a.m. on the dot, Buckingham Palace unleashes a spine-chilling bulletin. His Majesty's address to the nation will air at 6 p.m. masterful precision. Time to blanket the country before supper, yet delayed just enough for Star's career to bleed out in agony. If the beleaguered PM clings until broadcast, it's tantamount to a regal vote of no confidence. A monarch's velvet hammer smashing Labour's glass jaw. Unthinkable in modern times. Yet, here we are teetering on the precipice of history's wildest twist. But hold the presses. The plot thickens like temp sludge. At 11:22 a.m., a solitary black sedan slinks out of Downing Street. No, Blaring sirens, no fawning entourage, no. Adoring throngs, just one forlorn. Silhouette in the rear, gaze fixed. Ahead, mask of defeat, uncrackable star. En route to the palace, not for a showdown, not for desperate haggling. Whispers scream, is this grilling for mercy, a graveling apology, or outright capitulation? The air crackles with tension. Britain collectively gasps, pulses racing. What unfolds behind those gilded doors could script a velvet transition or detonate a powder keg, rivaling 1688's glorious revolution, peaceful handover, or constitutional Armageddon. The stakes, colossal, Labour's house of cards, topples, splintering into irrelevance. Reform UK poised to storm the gates. Farage's juggernaut swelling in. By-elections with populist thunder. Picture it, iron-fisted anti-immigration, edicts slamming shut the floodgates. No, more 700,000 invaders eroding our streets yearly. Ditch the net zero delusion that's bled families dry with 50% energy hikes while elites preach. From private jets, Brexit reborn in glory, sovereignty reclaimed, no more Brussels bootlicking or EU betrayals, stripping our fishing rights and borders bare. The King's audacious gambit, clarion call awakening British identity, from globalist slumber against the woke, elite's grip, ignoring grooming gangs, horrors in Rotherham, prioritizing pronouns over patriots. This is the people's reckoning. Farage's reform surges in polls, hitting 25% in swing seats, eclipsing Labour's dismal 14%. Trump's echo chamber amplifies. J.D. Vance hails Britain's fight back against sellouts. Hypothetical Farage roar. The Crown's exposed the fraud. Now we rebuild. Britain for Brits. Implications ripple like shockwaves. Energy independence via fracking fury. National pride armored against invasion. Labour's scandals buried in the dustbin. The old guard crumbles. A new dawn rises. Britain, are you ready to seize it? Folks, 1 minute ago, King Charles. Emergency move exposed Starmer's betrayal and lit the fuse for real change. Labour's crumbling reform, UK's rising as the people's champion. This is Britain fighting back. If you want more bombshells like this, smash that like button, subscribe now, and hit the bell. Comment should the King intervene more. Please click super thanks to support the channel. Your motivation keeps us exposing the truth. Our next expose, Farage's master plan to shatter Labour for good. You won't see this on the BBC. Stay vigilant, Britain.